Hello, welcome back to the DualShock Graveyard Podcast. This is episode 12. I am Julian. I am your host, Cult Master Extraordinaire, and we're still dealing with the technical difficulties we've been dealing with last week. But I gotta tell you, I'm happy. Let me explain why I'm happy about these technical difficulties, because obviously, you're thinking to yourself, well, technical difficulty, that doesn't sound good at all. Well, let me explain. As it turns out, this issue is completely out of my control, and there is nothing I can do except wait for a fix. Thank God. That means that I can stop stressing out like I was all of last week, because I don't know if anyone's ever had to deal with, not just technical difficulties, but just something stressful happening that you have to quickly figure out in a short amount of time that you can't because you don't know how. And that confusion is so demoralizing. I was so stressed out, number one, obviously, and so down on myself that I didn't know how to figure out this problem. And it was such a bad day. And it wasn't until I looked it up on Reddit and I found out that not just me, but apparently a lot of people are having this issue right now with this software, which, by the way, I should probably explain what exactly is the exact technical difficulty I'm dealing with. So basically, I've got my recording software and I have my microphone software. On my microphone itself, there is a knob called the for the gain, and when I change it, it changes back to a fixed setting, which was very annoying. And it would change back to full gain, like 100%, a level that is unrecordable because my voice would just be blowing out your speakers, which obviously I do not want. And it turns out that there was actually a bug that came to the software through the latest patch that was causing this, and many people were reporting this. I went to the Twitter page, and a lot of people are tweeting at them with this exact problem that I'm having, and the relief that I felt and the weight that was lifted off my shoulders is quite frankly indescribable. And it sounds weird because it's still an ongoing issue. The problem's not solved. It's still there. I was, just like last week, I was able to find a workaround around it, but just to know that this stressful issue is something that is not on my end is pretty good. It feels amazing. Also, we are recording episode 12 of the DualShock Graveyard Podcast a day early. It's Tuesday and not Wednesday, which is the usual release day. And the reason we're recording a day early is quite simple. I had everything ready very early. This week, I think I took the most time to prepare for an episode that I ever have. And all I had to do was just wait until Wednesday. And that's something that I thought I was going to do. Then comes Tuesday. I'm just sitting around doing nothing. And I figured, I've got the notes in front of me. I've got the episode fresh in my head. So let's just go ahead and do it today. Let's get it done. Not to imply that, I'm trying to rush this thing or trying to get this out of the way. No, I look forward to Wednesdays where I can put out a new episode. So with all that technical difficulty shenanigans out of the way, the DualShock Graveyard Podcast is a gaming podcast with a horror twist. I say that every single week because it is what it is. It's exactly what it is. That's why I say it. But I do have an announcement, a very big announcement that is going to change the show forever. But I think this is a change for the good, and that is I'm switching a couple things around. It's not okay, I'll be honest, it's not a big giant change, but I'm just switching the format around to where the DualShock Graveyard Podcast is now no longer a gaming podcast with a horror twist. It is now a hentai review show where we watch the latest and greatest hentai, and I give you my thoughts. And we are calling this brand new show Hentai Hell. And that couldn't be further from the truth. That's actually not what's going on. What's actually going on is, after giving it a lot of thought, traditionally I start the show by, going over the weekly releases, followed by, a couple headlines, a couple topics that I like to talk about. And then when there's time after, I segue into the horror side. And I decided that I'm going to move that segment to the forefront. And the reason for that is the subject of horror and everything related to it. It's a lot more of an open, accessible topic that you can come at from many different angles, as far as horror movies, horror games, uh, stories, dreams, anything that can kick off an episode in a very accessible way. And when I say accessible, I mean anybody can just jump in and listen to it. I feel gaming has a lot more. It's just in ways it's as accessible, but in certain aspects, vocabulary, like for example, one of the stories we're going to talk about today is Cyberpunk. In fact, this came out. This is breaking today. This is breaking news. Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed, which, holy shit, that's crazy. This, as far as I've seen, this is the first ever game that I've seen get delayed after it's gone gold. Now, the term gone gold, I know what that term means. I assume most gamers out there know what that term means, but there's probably many listeners out there who just listen casually, who play video games casually, who might not know what that term means. By the way, the term "gone gold" is a word used in the industry that means that a game has completed development, that you can, in its current build, play it from beginning to end. It's just done. Development has finished. That's what the term "gone gold" means. And again, I don't want to begin the show talking about topics that are relevant and will be discussed, but I don't want to start the show with topics that might, to a casual listener, might not be as accessible, because again, this is a gaming podcast and it's also a horror podcast, and the horror genre is a shit ton more, again, open and accessible, and I'd much rather begin each episode with that end of accessibility. And then once that's done, then we can get into the nitty-gritty and talk about the latest and greatest going on in gaming, which, by the way, we've got a very, very stacked episode, a lot going on today. We've got Travis Scott. He's been hired by PlayStation. That man is having a great 2020. We've got a bunch of PS4 games getting patches and very mysterious shit happening in those patches that we're going to get to. More about Cyberpunk 2077 getting delayed. We've got news about the Uncharted film, actual official set photos being released, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice getting a Game of the Year edition, being released in the form of a free patch coming out later this month. Just topic after topic that we're going to get to on the second half of the show. It took me 12 episodes to figure this out. I probably should have known this sooner, but this show is still, believe it or not, actually, it's believe it, there is no fiction to this. We are on episode 12. That is a fact. You must believe that. That is an undeniable fact. This is episode 12 of the DualShock Graveyard Podcast. But my point being that this show is still in its infancy, technically. This show is still a fetus in some ways. When you think about your favorite podcast, whether it be, the Legion of Skanks or Cumtown or Rogan or your favorite true crime podcast, whatever podcast you like to listen to, for the most part, I would assume that you didn't listen to Leeson. You didn't start listening to those very, very popular podcasts from the beginning. Chances are you jumped into their 100th episode after they've been established and been there a while. And listen, I'm not trying to make excuses for myself. I'm not trying to justify any, what's the word? Shortcomings that this show might have at its inception. It's just that it is still in its inception. I'm 12 episodes deep. I think it's pretty obvious. Well, first of all, to the fact that I still don't have a fucking bitchin' theme song that I thought I'd have by now. It's still a very cold open, which, by the way, that's a work in progress. I've got concepts for an opening. I also have concepts for brand new podcast art. There's just a lot in the works right now. In fact, I think the podcast art that's up right now, which is the black screen with the red letters, a little behind the scenes, I made that on my phone with an app right before I uploaded the first episode because I needed art. Like, I couldn't upload a podcast without art, and that was I just make one out of necessity, and that's been the art since, which has to change. I mean, it's so amateurish. It's embarrassing. It's almost as embarrassing as starting the show cold without a theme. There's just a lot going on in the DualShock Graveyard world that's, in the works. And 12 episodes in, you guys are in a very, very privileged position to see all of it just come together in real time. Am I saying that I'm going to be as big as Joe Rogan one day? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And all of you that are here on episode 12, right at the cusp of the beginning, I'm taking you all with me as well. And with that being said, let's talk about some spooky shit. And I'm happy that we finally get to talk about some spooky shenanigans because have you ever had a dream? I have a question for you.
Have you ever had a dream that you had you could you do you you want you could do so you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
Classic clip right there. But seriously, have you ever had a dream that was so real, whether it's a nightmare or just a regular dream that felt real, that it ruined your day? It affects how you see things just for that day. The next day you're completely fine, but that day after that dream you're fucked. And that's what I'm going through right now, because I had a wild one last night. It was actually one moment in particular that transformed this dream from one that I would have easily forgotten as soon as I woke up, because you know most dreams, right? You forget them instantly. You wake up, maybe for the first 30 seconds you can remember vaguely what happened, go over it real quick. It's like, whoa, that was pretty crazy, or wow, that was scary. But for the most part, after those 30 seconds, you forget what you dreamed about the night before. One moment turned this dream into one that I would have otherwise forgotten about instantly, to one that is all I can think about, and it's just clouding my mind right now. So in this dream, I'm working on my podcast, and in reality, what that looks like is I'll usually either from home, or sometimes I'll go to Starbucks. I'm one of those weirdos you see at Starbucks that you see sitting in the corner scribbling on a notebook. That's me. That's what I do. And in this particular dream, I'm doing that, except for some goofy reason, I'm at a block party. There's like a party happening, and I'm in a house that's not mine, and I'm working on my notebook, and these kids barge in. Now they're about like 10, 13, 14 maybe. And they barge in and they start destroying the room that I'm in. They start knocking over lamps, kicking over shelves, just, breaking shit, just causing a ruckus. And I don't think I'm bothered by it. I just watch it happen. And as they leave, I turn around and there's a window. And out this window, there's an old man. And he's standing next to this machine. I don't remember if it was a machine catapult type thing. I don't know what this was. And I remember he looked to me. He looked right into my eyes and he said, "Don't worry, I'll take care of them." And I don't recall if I reacted to that. I believe I just turned around and went back to work. And, you don't remember dreams chronologically. Eventually, I remember those little shitheads started running around the backyard around to where this old guy was. And what happens next? Jesus Christ. So this machine grabs one of these kids, launches him into the air. And I'm watching this from out the window from that room that I'm in. And I see the outline of this kid's body start to glow. And it's glowing brighter and brighter. And then next thing you know, boom, this fucking kid explodes. And when I say he explodes, have you ever been to like a concert where you can feel the bass like in your body? You can feel the thuds in your chest. I felt that. As real as you can feel something, I felt that. And I watched a kid blow up, and not in like some cartoony dreamlike. No. If there was a machine that can vaporize humans, this is exactly how it would do it. It wouldn't just be like some beam. It would what's that sport, that shooting sport where somebody says pull and that thing launches? It would be like that. It would launch a human into the air, fry them a bit, and then explode them. I would imagine. And that's exactly what happened here. And oh my god, the way it played out in my dream, just it felt like, bottom line, it felt real is what I'm trying to say. It felt real, and when I woke up, I still I still felt like it's something I just saw like out my window or on, it happened in front of me. And now I'm sitting here the afternoon after, and I'll be honest, it's not really affecting me that much, but it is insane. Dreams can be like that. Dreams can get to an insane realistic level, and it puzzles me sometimes how being somebody that is very much into the paranormal or ghosts or demons and spirits and wanting to see actual manifestations of them and evidence and whatnot, how is it that we don't talk about dreams more? And when I say that, I mean the fact that on a nightly basis, we get transported to an alternate dimension in our minds based off our subconscious. This happens every single night. And listen, there are obviously we know they're real. Obviously, there are scientists that study them. I'm just saying we should take moments in our lives every once in a while to acknowledge that we do indeed get teleported to alternate dimensions on a nightly basis in our brains. And also that the process of a human being getting vaporized is not as entertaining as you would imagine it being. It's actually quite traumatizing. Holy fuck. Anyways, with that being said, let's segue over to I mean, you can't segue something. A segue is when something happens naturally. You can't just force a segue. So let me rephrase that. Let's switch on over to what I've been watching / what I've been playing. This week, I've been watching more Friends. I'm watching Friends for those that don't know for the first time, and I gotta tell you, it's the watching TV version of listening to the Beatles for the first time. I love it. I really love Friends. What's happening right now? I believe, as of right now, Rachel, she quit her job at the Central Perk, and she's working for this fashion dude, and she's not happy because, she wants to do that fashion shit, and she feels like she's not being challenged at this new spot. They've got Joey selling Christmas trees, which is quite funny. Just the random shit that they put these characters through. Ross and Rachel are still together, which is great. I'm in the middle of season 3. There's 10 seasons to this show. I assume that at some point they're gonna break up. I don't know if they end up together at the end. I'm going into this fresh, so nobody spoil this for me. If you spoil Friends, you'll be banished forever. And the guy from my dream that has the vaporizer gun, he will escape from my subconscious and he will launch you 10 feet into the air and then vaporize you to death. And nobody wants that, so please do not ruin Friends for me. Let me enjoy something. I'm also a couple episodes into Netflix's The Haunting of Hill House. Now, this is a series that I've seen before. I've seen the entire series. It was like 2 years ago when it came out, actually. I've seen it all one time, and I don't remember anything of it 2 years later. And again, I either last week or the week before, I talked about how the way we watch TV series now, which is consuming an entire season in one sitting, is just not the way, in my opinion, not the way we should be watching TV. What that does is it reduces the impact of a show to just that moment, as opposed to how we used to watch TV shows like on a weekly basis, where for an entire month and a half, we have just enjoying a show in bits and pieces and really appreciating each individual episode as like its own moment, rather than just consuming it all at once. And that's what I did with The Haunting of Hill House the first time. And, like I said, as a result, I'm pretty sure I enjoyed it when I watched it. But 2 years later, I can't tell you what that show was about. So that's why I'm rewatching it, because I do want to watch the new season, a new series. I don't know. Netflix is weird, man. It's not season 2 of The Haunting of Hill House. It's an entirely different series, but it's a follow-up to the first season / series. And, God damn it, dude. I hate TV now. This is why I don't watch TV anymore. This is why I watch Friends. It takes me back to a time where TV was much more simple. And as far as The Haunting of Hill House goes, it's quite good. I'm 2 episodes in, and for those of you that have never seen it or are curious, it's about a family who grew up in a house, or not grew up, they lived in a house where some shenanigans happened, and they're all grown up now, and that shenanigans that happened in the house is coming back and into their adult lives, and all the chaos that ensues with something like that happening. So I definitely recommend it. If you have a Netflix account and you're looking for something new to watch, The Haunting of Hill House. But remember, watch the series in 2 to 3 episode bursts every day, or just space the episodes out. Don't watch the whole season in one sitting. You're not gonna enjoy. You'll enjoy it for that moment, but every individual episode won't be appreciated, which I believe we need to get back to as well. And there's nothing stopping us from doing that. It's just the way we watch, the episodes. So I recommend, if you can help it at all, try to lengthen the enjoyment of a show by possibly, splitting up the episodes, maybe watch 2 episodes in one day, maybe waiting a day, or I don't know. You decide that. That's up to you to decide. Just as long as it's not all in just one sitting, you will maximize your enjoyment of a show, guaranteed. So, The Haunting of Hill House, that's also what I've been watching. I've been watching also the first episode of Sword Art Online. This is another show that I got into a while ago, and the last time I started attempting to get into Sword Art Online, I really enjoyed the beginning, but for whatever reason, I just remember falling out towards the middle of the first series. So I'm trying to get back on that again. That's as far as what I've been watching this week. As far as what I've been playing, I've been playing just one game, and that's Far Cry 3, the classic edition on the PS4. Now, Far Cry 3 is one of my all-time favorite games. In fact, I have a giant Far Cry 3 poster on my door. And ever since I got the Platinum Trophy for God of War Remastered a couple weeks ago, God of War 3 Remastered, I don't know, I've been on a kick of revisiting games that I hold in high esteem, and just been trying to get the Platinum Trophy if at all possible. The grind to get that platinum for God of War 3 was very satisfying, so Far Cry 3 might be next up on there to try to get that Platinum Trophy for sure. Revisiting that classic gameplay loop of exploring a beautiful tropical island, hunting animals, liberating camps, upgrading everything. It's been very fun. So Far Cry 3 just might be my next Platinum Trophy for sure. Replaying Far Cry 3 has also made me very excited for the forthcoming Far Cry 6, which was announced was it like 2 months ago? And I'm excited because not only because I love the Far Cry series, but ever since Far Cry 3, I've always wanted them to revisit that tropical setting once again. The tropical setting it's how it all started. The first Far Cry game was a tropical setting. Far Cry 2 took place in what was it? The African Sahara. Far Cry 3 once again came back to the tropical setting. Far Cry 4 was that Himalayan shenanigans. Far Cry 5 took place in Montana. And Far Cry 6 looks to be taking place in like a country that's inspired by Cuba, which is exciting because obviously, Cuba is a Caribbean country, and, the possibilities for, island outskirts in a tropical setting is there. But location-wise aside, I'm also excited for a couple characters. There's a rumor right now, for those that don't know, one of the most beloved antagonists of any video game is this character named Voss, who was the main villain for Far Cry 3. In Far Cry 6, in that announcement trailer, there's a child, and the rumors about this trailer is that child is actually Voss. So, rumor has it that Far Cry 6 is actually a prequel to Far Cry 3, which would honestly be pretty cool, just to see this kid become who we know as Voss, which is cool, but at the same time, it's kind of tragic too, because obviously we know who Voss is. He's just this psychopath, brilliantly performed by the actor that played Voss, but he is a psychopath nonetheless. And usually, when you see like a child having an arc in a video game, you always hope for the best, obviously. But this he could just be like a very sweet kid, and then we see him because he has this dictator father, as made evident in the announcement trailer for Far Cry 6. We see his mental destruction in real time, and he does eventually become Voss. And that's the rumor, at least. He could just be some completely different character. But listen, I'm down for a well written tragic story of some sweet young boy who becomes the villain we know as Voss. I'm down for that too. So we'll have to wait and see. Far Cry 6 comes out in February of next year, I believe. And with that being said, I think we can finally get into the latest and greatest going on in gaming. And we're going to start that the way we do every single week with the weekly releases. The weekly releases, very self-explanatory. I'm just going over all the games coming out this week. And unlike most other gaming podcasts who spend way too much time going through every single game that comes out every single week, which, let's be honest, most of it is just shovelware shenanigans and games that aren't really too big. We focus on all the big games, all the games that I'm planning on getting, or games that I may not be getting, but think you should check out anyway. And being that this is a podcast that also prides itself on its audience participation, I say this every single week. If there is a game that gets missed by the weekly releases by me, and you think it's worth checking out, I definitely want you to hit me up and go, hey, this game comes out this week. You did not talk about it this week. I think you should talk about it. I will then look at this at the game that you think I should check out, and if it looks cool, I'll be more than happy to bring it up the next week. And so far, that has not happened once, which convinces me that my taste is impeccable. But I always love to be proven wrong. So definitely, again, the official communication hubs of the DualShock Graveyard Podcast are my very own personal Twitter page and Instagram page, which both of them you can reach me at ambient_Jules. But with that out of the way, let's get into these games. Ghost Runner is a PlayStation 4, PC, and Xbox One release that comes out today. So by the time you're listening to this, it's out for purchase. And I didn't know about this game until very, very recently. I saw a trailer on the official PlayStation channel, and holy shit, this is a first-person action game set in the same style as Mirror's Edge. And oh Jesus, what was that zombie game that had Dying Light? If you're a big fan of Dying Light and the movements of that game and of Mirror's Edge, this is a game that's right up your alley because it is that exact gameplay loop, except much faster, and you play as a cyberpunk ninja. And in first person, you're just slicing and dicing and parkouring your way through these levels. And it just looks insane. If you have a moment, I recommend going on YouTube and just looking up Ghost Runner, see some gameplay footage for yourself, and pick it up if it's up your alley. Definitely check it out. It looks great. Watch Dogs Legion comes out on the PlayStation 4, PC, Xbox One, and the Stadia, and is a Thursday release coming out on the 29th. Obviously, it's another game in the Watch Dogs franchise. Now, I've never played the original Watch Dogs. I've played Watch Dogs, some of Watch Dogs 2, only because it takes place in the Bay Area where I'm from. This third entry takes place in a very dystopian London. So, Watch Dogs 3 or Watch Dogs Legion, if you're a Watch Dogs fan, you know what to expect. That is out on Thursday. And we've got two games coming out on the 30th. We've got Pikmin 3 on the Switch. Now, this is a Switch port of the original Wii U release. So if you loved Pikmin 3 on the Wii U and want to pay in true Nintendo fashion, want to pay a full $60 for a Wii U port, Pikmin 3 is there for you. Goddamn, Nintendo is still doing that. Blows my mind. But what are you gonna do? Pikmin 3 out the 30th, and also coming out on the 30th, the Dark Pictures anthology Little Hope comes out on the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. This is another game in the Dark Pictures anthology series, which started, last year with the Dark Pictures Man of Medine. This series of games is made by the same studio that did Until Dawn, and it's the same type of game. It's that, what do you even call these games? Like story-based, point-and-click, choose your own adventure type shenanigans. If you liked Until Dawn, they've been doing these little miniature versions of those games under the Dark Pictures Anthology banner. So this is just the latest one. So the Dark Pictures Anthology Little Hope out the 30th. And that'll do it for the weekly releases. Once again, if I missed out on a game that you think should be part of the weekly releases that I missed out on this week, let me know. I want to give good games a shout out on this show. Hit me up on Twitter and Instagram, ambient_Jules. And with that, we move on to some headlines. Now, I brought this up earlier, but let's actually dive into this a little bit. Cyberpunk 2077, one of the most one of the most anticipated games of this generation, period, especially for a brand new IP, has been delayed by 3 weeks. The new release date is now December 10th, and as I said earlier, this is the first time. I should have done a little bit of research. I don't know if this is the first time this has happened, but as far as I know, as far as my experience, this is the first time a game has gone gold that has been announced as completed. Usually when a game goes gold, that's usually indication that the game is ready to be shipped. Like the development is done. There's no need to delay it anymore. Like the game's done. But this is the first time I've seen where a game has gone gold. I believe it was 3 weeks ago they announced that the game had gone gold, and here we are. The game has been delayed after it's gone gold, which is very unprecedented. Now, CD Projekt Red did come out with a statement, which I will now read if this page will load. Here we go. This is coming from CD Projekt Red's Twitter page. Hey everyone, today we've decided to make the release date of Cyberpunk 2077 by 21 days. The new release date is December 10th. Most likely, there are many emotions and questions in your head so far. So first and foremost, please accept our humble apologies. The biggest challenge for us right now is shipping the game on current gen, next gen, and PC at the same time, which requires us to prepare and test 9 versions of it. Xbox One, its compatibility on Xbox Series X, PS4 Pro compatibility on PS5, PC, Stadia. Man, that was a mouthful. While working from home. Since Cyberpunk 2077 evolved towards almost being a next-gen title somewhere along the way, we need to make sure everything works well and every version runs smoothly. We're aware it might seem unrealistic when someone says that 21 days can make any difference in such a massive and complex game, but they really do. Some of you might also be wondering what these words mean in light of us saying that we achieved Gold Master some time ago, which is, what I just said. Passing certification or going gold means the game is ready, can be completed, and has all content in it. But it doesn't mean we stop working on it and raising the quality bar. On the contrary, this is the time where many improvements are being made, which will then be distributed via a day 1 patch. This is the time period we undercalculated. We feel we have an amazing game on our hands and are willing to make every decision, even the hardest ones, if it ultimately leads you to getting a video game you'll fall in love with. Yours, Adam Baldowski. I butchered that name. Adam Badowski, and Merson Iwinski. Goddamn Nordic motherfuckers. So that's the statement that they made. So the game's been delayed 3 weeks, and doesn't bother me one bit. That sucks for those of you that was anticipating, getting the game at launch. Obviously, a lot of people, especially for a game this massive, I have to assume that a lot of people did that thing where they ask for a whole week off from work and just dedicate all that time off to playing this game. I know many people did that for Red Dead Redemption 2, but that sucks. That sucks if you already had that time off. But the delay's not too bad. 3 weeks. And in the statement, they confirmed that it's not more development time they need. They just need more time to make sure that every single version of the game runs smoothly, which hopefully they can achieve in these 21 days. So we will see Cyberpunk 2077 on December 10th instead of November. That day in November, that slips my mind. Moving on here, something that is a pet peeve of mine. Something that annoys the shit out of me every time it happens is I'll record an episode and the following day something major happens and I have to wait until next week to talk about it. What is it this time? Well, PlayStation 5s have been making their way into the hands of many media outlets, which is a good thing. And on this day that I'm recording today, a what Mystic Gaming calls a soft embargo was hit, and what that means is Sony has allowed these outlets to talk about very specific things. They can't go into detail about their first impressions or stuff like that. But what they are allowed to talk about is they're allowed to unbox the PlayStation. They're allowed to show the actual console. They're allowed to talk about the DualSense, which is the controller. And they're also allowed to talk about the game that will come shipped with every PS5 console, Astro's Playroom. So there's just a whole plethora of brand new PlayStation 5 unboxing videos, DualSense unboxing videos, and first impressions of this game that will come shipped with every PlayStation 5, Astro's Playroom. And from what I've seen of this game in particular, is that it's very cute, and it looks like a really solid, fun 3D platformer. Now, this is the game that's gonna it's kind of like a tech demo that's gonna show off everything that the PlayStation 5's controller can do, not just the controller but the console itself. It's kind of like how the the Wii shipped with Wii Sports. This is kind of the PlayStation 5's version of Wii Sports. It's a very tech demo-y game, but it is being labeled as a full-fledged game, which is definitely what it looks like to me. I mean, it just looks like a very fun 3D platformer that looks extremely fun and has, from the gameplay that I've seen, has so many fan servicey PlayStation moments that I don't want to ruin for you. I think you should really just see. They have like full 30-minute playthroughs of this game already that I think you should check out if you are getting especially if you're getting a PlayStation 5. I mean, this is a game that's going to come for free, that's going to ship with your console. So definitely give these videos a look. Hopefully within the next couple days, another embargo will be lifted where Sony will allow them to actually go over what I really want to see. And what I want to see is backwards compatibility tests. I want to see which games are going to benefit from PlayStation 5's improved hardware, how they're going to run. I'm very curious to see how Bloodborne is going to run. I want to know if it's, is it going to run finally at a full 60 frames per second? Will Uncharted 4, is that going to run at a higher frame rate? Just I'm waiting for those videos. I'm waiting for Digital Foundry to do those giant tech breakdowns for backwards compatibility games. That's what I'm personally waiting for. But a whole lot of more videos and a whole lot more information out on the PS5 today. So if that's something you're interested in, YouTube is where you want to go. Now, this next item is something that came way out of left field. If there is one person that's had a fantastic 2020, it's this man right here, Travis Scott. He's a rapper, and the only thing I know about this guy is that he set himself up for life by emptying his entire balls inside of a Kardashian, thus making him set for life. But aside from that, I know that he had a McDonald's deal where he had his own custom burger, which, listen, I don't know anything about this guy's music, but this guy put out a meal that was a quarter pounder with lettuce, bacon, fries, and a Sprite for only $6. Now, I may not like modern hip-hop music, but I do love a good fast food deal, so shout outs to Travis Scott for putting that together. But we're talking about Travis Scott today because he has been hired by PlayStation themselves as a strategic creative partner. I'm going to read to you the full blog post right here, coming straight from the PlayStation blog. It reads, "Today, we're excited to announce Travis Scott has joined the PlayStation family as a strategic creative partner. We heard Travis is a huge PlayStation fan, so we started a conversation with him that led to this unique partnership through our mutual passion for gaming and creativity. we plan on collaborating with Travis and his Cactus Jack brand to produce innovative projects that we hope will delight our collective fans. Travis is an artist who is incredibly innovative, constantly surprising, and continues to push boundaries, very much like the PlayStation brand, so we think this is a perfect fit. When we embarked on this collaboration, the most important thing was to keep it as open as possible, to allow the space to explore interesting creative ideas. Travis's deep knowledge and fond memories about PlayStation as a brand, our products, and games will inspire his work from us from start to finish. He is an amazing creator, and we strive to work with the best creative minds inside and outside our industry to continue to surprise the world in a way that only PlayStation can. Travis himself wanted to share a few words, and this is a quote from Travis Scott himself. I'm really looking forward to being able to showcase everything that Cactus Jack has worked on with Sony and the PlayStation team. Most importantly, I'm excited to see how the PlayStation fans and family respond, and I look forward to running some games with everybody very soon. Going back to PlayStation's blog here, today we are excited to share with you a unique video created by Travis to kick off our partnership. The video features a few of the key people that worked on different aspects of the PlayStation 5's console, and above is a video that you can watch on your own time. It's basically just like I honestly don't even know what it is. It's a Travis Scott video with Travis Scott in it doing some artsy shenanigans. I don't know. It's on you Travis Scott fans. You can make your way to YouTube and find it yourselves. It's on the PlayStation page. But that's a very, very interesting collaboration. I mean, I don't know if this is supposed to be PlayStation's answer to Xbox buying Bethesda, is signing on Travis Scott, a world famous rapper, to help with some creative shenanigans. But listen, I am not mad at this. From what I've seen, is this man has been killing it in the fast food market, and I'm sure he will do great things with PlayStation. So we'll see what this partnership will put forth. We'll have to wait and see. So there's that. Here's a very brief one. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which won Game of the Year in last year's Game Awards. That's getting a Game of the Year edition, and it's being released as a free update for all owners. This free update patch will come out on the 28th, which is tomorrow, Wednesday. And this update includes the ability to allow you to fight your favorite bosses on demand, in addition to a traditional boss rush, player recordings, whatever that means, and some unlockable skins. So, for those of you who loved Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, a good reason for you to go back, download this patch, relive those great boss battles that you had. I tried this game out myself, and listen, these types of soul games are, I don't want to say they're not for me, but they're clearly too difficult for me. Although I will say, I am very excited for Demon Souls. That is, not only is Demon Souls in this vein of game, but it's one of the few next gen titles that looks next gen, and that is something that I am very much looking forward to getting into. But as far as Sekiro Shadows Die Twice goes, that's getting a free patch. It's the Game of the Year edition patch, and that will be free. Finally, after many years of this film going in and out of what they call production hell, the first official set photos for the forthcoming Uncharted movie has finally been released, with none other than Spider-Man's Tom Holland starring as Nathan Drake. These are 5 pictures in total. One of them is Tom Holland fully decked out in the traditional Nathan Drake garb. And I've always been in the camp that an Uncharted film is unnecessary, simply because, I mean, the Uncharted games already feel like movies in itself. I mean, they've always been, in some circles, already criticized for being, movie games instead of actual games, but I'll still watch it. I'm not against watching. I mean, this isn't going to be like some Resident Evil cheese fest. I mean, they hired one of the in my opinion, one of the best working actors today. They got Tom Holland to play Nathan Drake. This isn't going to be some, cheap movie tie-in. I have a feeling if Sony really cares about its brand, they're going to drop a bunch of money on this budget. But aside from this picture of Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, we've also got, this is really cool. They've got the actual voice actor from who played Nathan Drake in the games, Nolan North, just chatting with Tom. I think that's a really nice touch, having the voice actor give his blessing to the actor Tom Holland, who will be playing his character. There's also a very, very highly detailed picture of what appears to be a piece of treasure that, in true Nathan Drake fashion, will probably be the focus of the film. And it looks like they're doing what, if I had to plan, or if I had to plot out an Uncharted film myself, I think I probably would have done this too. Don't base it around any of the games, but make like an all new original story, which is what they seems to be doing here, based on this treasure, and also based on a photo that features a historical figure by the name of Ferdinand Magellan. And according to the research I did, Ferdinand Magellan is a Portuguese explorer, which clearly he wasn't the subject of any of the 4 games. So this is, it confirms that this is going to be an original Uncharted story featuring an original explorer and original settings. I don't know, just an original Uncharted story, which is probably the best thing that they could have done with an actual Uncharted film. And quick reminder that Mark Wahlberg will be playing Sully in this film. Just needed to throw that in there. Although, to his credit, he did release a photo of himself in costume as Sully with the classic Sully mustache. So a lot of people were worried. They saw, set photos of him without the mustache. So at least in part, he will, have that famous stash, if that means anything to you. So there you go. The Uncharted film. I'll be watching it. Yeah, I have no problem. I didn't ask for it, but I have no problem, watching it. We'll see if by the time this comes out, movie theaters will even be standing. If not, I'll be more than happy to just purchase this on my brand spanking new PlayStation 5, right? We'll be keeping our eyes on the Uncharted movie here on the show. Various PlayStation 4 games have been getting patches leading up to the PlayStation 5's launch. Very mysterious patches. 3 in particular, we're going to talk about God of War, 2018's God of War 3 Remastered, and The Last of Us Remastered have all recently gotten patches and updates. The Last of Us Remastered is a very particular one because this patch, and people are speculating that these patches are patches to prepare these games to be optimized for PlayStation 5 via backwards compatibility. However, The Last of Us Remastered's PS4 patch, what it did was it dramatically reduced the load times, which is odd. Now, as a lot of you might know, one of the PlayStation 5's biggest features is that ultra-fast SSD that's supposed to drastically reduce load times. But we're not talking about the PlayStation 5. We're talking about the PlayStation 4. When I read this, I fired up my copy of The Last of Us Remastered on my PS4, and I can confirm that the load times have been dramatically decreased. Did I say increased earlier? I meant decreased. They've been cut. There's virtually no load times, which blows my mind because, I mean, what you're telling me the PlayStation 4 was capable of this the whole time, and you're just waiting until the cusp of a brand new generation to release these patches? I mean, that's just one game. I don't want to knock it, but it is very, very mysterious. But The Last of Us Remastered now has virtually no load time, so regardless of the platform. So there you go. But as far as God of War goes, Sony Santa Monica has recently tweeted some fantastic news regarding its patch. Not just the patch, but the game itself. This is coming from their Twitter page. Whether you're picking up the game for the first time or looking to finish that New Game Plus save, God of War 2018 on the PlayStation 5 will offer up to 60 frames per second using the favorite performance video option, and save transfers. Start right where you left off on the PS4. And they even added here, you will also be able to transfer your God of War 3 remastered saves to the PS5. That's pretty big time. That is a confirmation for something that a lot of people have been wondering. 2018's God of War will in fact be running, quote, up to 60 frames per second on the PlayStation 5, which is good news. That's something that I've certainly wanted to know, and that's makes me very pleased to know that I'll be able to platinum God of War on the PS5, which is what I've been waiting for. And I'm going to use this moment to remind people that if you have PlayStation Plus, God of War, in addition to a bunch of other games, will be free to download right on launch day, right when you get your new PlayStation 5. In fact, I have the list in front of me of every single game from what's called the PlayStation Plus collection that you'll be able to download on day one of your purchase. And these games include Batman Arkham Knight, Battlefield 1, Bloodborne, Days Gone, Detroit Become Human, Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 15, 2018's God of War, Infamous Second Son, Monster Hunter World, Mortal Kombat X, Persona 5, Ratchet and Clank, Resident Evil 7, The Last Guardian, The Last of Us Remastered, which we just talked about, Uncharted 4, and Until Dawn. So a whole plethora of these monster titles will be available to you on day one. And I just figured I'd remind you of those games since we're talking about God of War and the fact that it will be running at 60 frames on PlayStation 5. And folks, that about does it for this week as far as the main headlines go, which means the time has come to say goodbye to you once again. But don't worry, we'll be back next Wednesday for another episode of the DualShock Graveyard Podcast. Add the socials on Twitter and Instagram at ambient_Jules. That about does it for me. I'll catch you guys next week. Peace. And remember, kids, DualShock is a product of Sony.